What if everything you've been taught about power was a carefully constructed lie? What if the real game of influence wasn't about charisma, hard work, or even intelligence, but something far darker, far more calculating? Think of the last time you watched someone effortlessly bend a situation to their will, their every move dripping with quiet authority. They didn't raise their voice. They didn't beg or bargain. Yet somehow, the room bent around them like gravity. This isn't luck. This isn't charm. This is the hidden science of ruthless psychology. The same force Machiavelli codified 5 centuries ago when he stripped away the illusions of morality and exposed power for what it truly is. A game of perception, manipulation, and cold, unflinching strategy. Machiavelli's genius wasn't in inventing these rules. It was in daring to write them down. While the world clung to noble ideals of fairness and virtue, he revealed the truth. Power doesn't care about fairness. It doesn't reward the good. It rewards the cunning. The lion may roar, but the fox survives. The prince may inspire love, but it is fear that keeps his throne secure. These are not philosophies for the timid. They are the operating system of those who understand that human nature is not something to lament, but something to exploit. Picture a serpent coiled in the grass, utterly still, yet radiating lethal potential. It does not waste energy on unnecessary motion. It does not reveal its fangs until the moment demands it. And when it strikes, the kill is effortless. This is the essence of Machiavellian power. The art of making others move while you remain still, of shaping outcomes without seeming to lift a finger. It is the understanding that words are weapons, silence is a stratagem, and every interaction is a battlefield where the psychological victor is decided long before the first shot is fired. But here's the unsettling truth. You are already living in this world. The only question is whether you are the player or the pawn. At the heart of Machiavelli's ruthless psychology lies a fundamental rejection of how power should work in favor of how it actually works. This is not a philosophy of idealism but of ice-cold observation, a dissection of the mechanisms that have propelled history's most formidable figures to the top and kept them there. The first pillar is the primacy of perception over reality. Machiavelli understood that what people believe to be true holds far more sway than objective truth itself. A ruler seen as generous and just can survive countless hidden cruelties, while one perceived as weak will be toppled no matter their competence. This is why image crafting is not vanity but warfare. Every gesture, every word, even every silence is a calculated move in the theater of control. Closely tied to this is the duality of force and deception, the lion and the fox. The lion embodies raw power, the ability to dominate through sheer strength when necessary, but the fox represents the more subtle art of manipulation, the capacity to weave illusions, exploit gaps in perception, and turn an opponent's expectations against them. The truly powerful know when to roar and when to slink, when to instill fear and when to feign alliance. This is not about choosing one over the other, but mastering the rhythm of their interplay, recognizing that every situation demands a different mask. Then there is the doctrine of strategic immorality, perhaps the most unsettling yet liberating of Machiavelli's tenets. Conventional morality is a constraint only if you allow it to be. Ruthless psychology operates on the premise that ethics are tools, not chains, useful when they serve your ends, discardable when they don't. This doesn't necessitate outright villainy, but rather a willingness to do what is effective, whether it aligns with societal virtue or not. The key is to never let others see you as the villain, only the necessary force. Underpinning all of this is the law of adaptability. Power is not static. It flows like water, shifting with circumstance. The ruler who clings to a single strategy will be outmaneuvered by the one who bends without breaking, who embraces contradiction, mercy today, brutality tomorrow, without losing coherence. To master this is to become formless, to ensure that no one can ever fully predict or pin you down. Consider the ancient parable of the scorpion and the frog, where the scorpion, despite knowing it will drown, stings the frog mid-river because it is in its nature. This fable mirrors the Machiavellian truth that human behavior follows predictable patterns, not moral ideals. The ruthless observer understands these patterns like a biologist understands predation, not as something to judge, but to anticipate and exploit. History whispers this lesson through figures like Cesare Borgia, who draped cruelty in necessity, or Catherine de' Medici, who turned courtly manners into weapons. Their power didn't come from defying human nature, but from riding its currents like a surfer rides waves, using the momentum of others' predictable behaviors to propel their own ascent. The chessboard serves as another potent metaphor. Amateurs focus on pieces, but grandmasters see the board's invisible geometry, the potential energy in empty squares, the psychological weight of sacrificed pawns. Machiavelli's psychology operates similarly, where what isn't done often speaks louder than action. A strategic retreat can demoralize opponents more than an attack. A calculated silence can unravel an adversary faster than any argument. The Renaissance Florence of Machiavelli's time was such a chessboard, where banking families and condottieri moved through social hierarchies not by brute force, but by understanding the unspoken rules governing fear, loyalty, and ambition. Perhaps the most profound narrative comes from nature itself, the phenomenon of mimicry, where harmless species evolve the coloring of poisonous ones. This biological deception mirrors the Machiavellian art of appearing what you are not. The powerful have always worn masks, the reformer who secretly consolidates power, the populist who stokes chaos to then solve it, the benefactor whose generosity is actually a ledger of future debts. These are not contradictions, but higher-order consistencies in the calculus of control. Like a theater director staging a play within a play, the ruthless understand that reality is layered, and truth is less important than the strategic deployment of believable illusions. The true test of Machiavellian psychology lies not in theoretical understanding, but in its seamless integration into the fabric of daily life. Consider how social hierarchies form organically in workplaces. The colleague who volunteers for visible projects while avoiding real work. The manager who cultivates an aura of indispensability through selective information sharing. These are not random behaviors but applications of ruthless psychology in its purest form, where perception engineering and strategic positioning create influence disproportionate to actual contribution. The modern corporate ladder rewards those who grasp that promotions are won not by merit alone, but by controlling the narrative around that merit, by ensuring the right people see the right version of your contributions at precisely the right time. In personal relationships, these principles manifest more subtly but no less powerfully. The partner who maintains an air of mystery and unpredictability often holds more sway than the transparently devoted one, not because love is a game to be won, but because human psychology responds to the tension between certainty and possibility. This explains why intermittent reinforcement creates deeper attachments than constant affection. Our brains assign greater value to what we might lose than to what we securely possess. The ruthless practitioner understands these psychological levers and pulls them with surgical precision, not necessarily to manipulate, but to never be the manipulated. The digital age has amplified these dynamics exponentially. Social media influencers and political figures alike curate their personas with Machiavellian precision, understanding that a carefully constructed image can outweigh reality by orders of magnitude. A viral moment can be engineered, a reputation shaped through selective disclosure, and an opponent destroyed through the strategic release of information. What Machiavelli observed in Renaissance courts now plays out on global platforms, where the currency is attention and the weapons are algorithms designed to exploit human psychological vulnerabilities. Yet this knowledge carries with it a profound responsibility and an existential choice. To study ruthless psychology is to stand at a crossroads where one path leads to cynical manipulation and the other to enlightened self-determination. The transformational potential lies not in becoming a puppet master, but in developing the discernment to recognize when these forces are acting upon you, and the wisdom to decide when and how to employ them. Like fire, these principles are neither good nor evil. They simply are. The difference between arson and civilization lies in the hand that wields them. The ultimate mastery comes full circle to self-knowledge. Before seeking to understand the psychological vulnerabilities of others, one must first map one's own. The leader who cannot be manipulated is the leader who has confronted their own hunger for validation, their own susceptibility to flattery, their own hidden fears. This is the paradox Machiavelli himself might have appreciated, that the most formidable power emerges not from controlling others, but from the ruthless discipline of controlling oneself. In an age of distraction and manufactured consent, this self-mastery becomes revolutionary. Will you remain a spectator to these invisible forces, or will you pick up the lens of ruthless observation and see the world, and your place in it, with unflinching clarity? The choice, as it always has been, is yours alone.